algumas marcas, bom, mas estou bem. Descansar um pouco, já estou voltando, né, como eu sempre fiz. Já aconteceu algumas vezes isso comigo, mas, eu tô bem, né? Agradeço todo o apoio de vocês, né? Com todo o carinho, sempre me apoiando. Estou recebendo muitas mensagens também de...
Magomed Ankalaev shocked the MMA world at UFC 313 by defeating Alex Pereira to claim the light heavyweight title. Despite being the underdog, Ankalaev put on an incredible performance, securing a unanimous decision victory at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The now former champion Alex Pereira has finally reacted to his unexpected loss, sharing his thoughts on how he's feeling. Pereira, also known as Poatan, assured fans that he is doing well and is now focused on making a strong comeback. He expressed his gratitude for the support and love he has received from fans after the fight.
Minha família, meu time, meus filhos, tá todo mundo aqui, todo mundo comendo aqui. Aí, ó. Vamos pedir umas pizzas e é isso, né? Vida que segue. Obrigado a todo mundo, né? Obrigado ao meu time. E é isso, pessoal. Fazer essa revanche aí e ajustar algumas coisas, né? E vou estar muito melhor. Pode esperar isso, tá bom, pessoal? E é isso. Nunca desista dos seus sonhos.
After the defeat, Poatan took some time off with his family and team to clear his mind. He also revealed that he is already working on making the necessary adjustments for a rematch against Ankalaev to reclaim his title. Pereira is determined to return stronger and continue chasing his dreams in the octagon.
New champion tonight. Can you give us your initial thoughts on the main event tonight?
Not what I expected. I thought Ankalaev won the fight. I wasn't shocked when I heard the decision. I wouldn't take anything away from Ankalaev and the pressure that he put on Alex tonight, and kept pushing forward. Even in the fifth round, I was listening. Alex's corner was saying, "You got to go after him this round. You have to let everything go. You got to let your hands go. You got to try to take."
New champion Magomed Ankalaev also spoke about his incredible victory at UFC 313, calling it a moment he will cherish forever. After watching the entire fight, he shared his thoughts on social media. Ankalaev wrote on his X account, "I just watched the whole fight. I can outstrike the best strikers. In the first 3 rounds I decided to strike with him. It was fun, but it wasn't easy when your opponent keeps running. My pressure was my best weapon today, and I'm very happy." Ankalaev won by unanimous decision, and UFC President Dana White admitted that he did not expect him to defeat Pereira. However, White praised the Dagestani fighter for his outstanding performance at UFC 313. While some people claimed that Pereira should have won, White completely dismissed those arguments, stating that Ankalaev was the rightful winner.
He controlled him for all 5 rounds with his pressure and his controlling on cage. And Alex have 0 grappling skills on the cage. Send him Dagestan 2-3 years and forget, because that's only way he gonna learn. He can't learn in Brazil. Who give this guy Alex black belt? It need to be investigated in my opinion. He is more like pink belt.
Meanwhile, UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov also agreed that Pereira was not robbed. Khabib stated that Ankalaev was the clear winner and deserved to be the champion. He even took a jab at Poatan, criticizing his grappling skills and questioning his black belt. Khabib invited Pereira to Dagestan to improve his grappling.
It was just kind of a lazy performance. I didn't see that real desire to want to win. Listen, Ankalaev was big, he was strong, he was good enough to compete on the feet, and of course, he had the takedown threat. And even though he didn't get the takedown, the threat of the takedown, we always say it, that was as good as getting the takedown because it opened up the strikes for him and it stopped Pereira from being overly aggressive and didn't want to go forward too much. For the most part, he was backed up throughout 25 minutes, pushed up against the fence, controlled a little.
Former UFC champion Michael Bisping was not impressed with Pereira's performance. He said Poatan appeared lazy at UFC 313, which allowed his opponent to take full advantage. Bisping praised Ankalaev, calling his performance outstanding and well-deserving of the championship.
Pereira didn't seem too happy. Obviously, the man just lost his title. He put his hands up in the air. He kind of felt that he had a case to win this one. He said you shouldn't win a fight by pushing somebody up against the fence.
Putting me up against the cage, he didn't really do anything.
But in mixed martial arts, we see that happen all the time. And to be honest, Ankalaev landed the bigger shots. He was more aggressive. He was going forward. And there was just more output. As I say, it was a lazy...
Alex Pereira was not happy with the result, claiming that Ankalaev didn't do anything special apart from pushing him against the cage. However, Michael Bisping dismissed Pereira's claims, insisting that Ankalaev was the rightful winner. He reiterated that Pereira did not perform at his best, while Ankalaev proved to be the superior fighter at UFC 313.
It wasn't lazy in terms of Pereira wasn't trying. It wasn't lazy that he was out of breath and tired and didn't prepare, even though he did get a little bit tired as the fight progressed, but that's normal. But the wrestling from Ankalaev certainly added to that. But what I mean by lazy is just the general amount of output that we saw. It just wasn't there. The appetite, the thirst, the hunger, whatever you want to call it, I didn't see it tonight. And that's why Magomed Ankalaev is now the light heavyweight champion of the world.
Bisping elaborated on what he meant by Pereira's lazy performance, saying that he didn't see the hunger to win in Pereira's approach, which ultimately cost him his light heavyweight championship belt.
Pereira landed a few jabs. In round 5, he landed a nice head kick. But the vast majority of the fight, it was Magomed Ankalaev pressuring him, able to land shots, maybe not big shots, but land shots and fight him very competitively on the feet. I believe that the reason he was able to fight him so well on the feet, though, is because he has that threat of the wrestling. And when you have that threat of the wrestling, it makes you a much harder person to...
UFC commentator Joe Rogan also acknowledged Magomed Ankalaev's remarkable win. Rogan noted that Ankalaev delivered one of the best performances of his career, defeating one of the most dangerous champions in recent UFC history. Reflecting on Ankalaev's journey, Rogan recalled that in his UFC debut, he was caught in a triangle choke by Paul Craig in a fight he was winning. Now he stands as the UFC light heavyweight champion. Rogan further praised Ankalaev's strategy, highlighting how he pressured Pereira and exposed his struggles when fighting on the back foot. According to Rogan, Ankalaev dominated most of the fight, while Pereira only had a few good moments.
Pace. Wasn't able to secure the takedowns like we thought he might. So on that front, Alex Pereira was much better than we thought. He defended 11 of 11 takedowns for Magomed Ankalaev. Every level change he matched. Every time he got to his legs, he was able to change the position. But what happened was, Ankalaev was unwilling to take a back step. And by being unwilling to take a back step, he really did put the champion Poatan in some rough positions.
UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier echoed similar sentiments, saying that although Pereira had his moments, the fight was largely dominated by Ankalaev. Cormier emphasized that Ankalaev's consistent pressure and striking were key factors in his victory.
Urgency in the corner of Alex Pereira. Tonight showed that he's just not as good when he has to go backwards. Still a good fighter. He was still in the fight, but Ankalaev had more success than we anticipated because he was able to implement that game plan. John Anik said going into round 5, it could be 3-1 Ankalaev, it could be 2-2. It would be hard for me to imagine a card that Pereira was up 3-1. And I was like, I think it's 2-2. I was wrong. It was 3-1 Ankalaev because Pereira won the 5th round. And he won it pretty convincingly, probably had his best round of the fight outside of round 1.
Cormier also pointed out that Pereira did a good job defending Ankalaev's takedown attempts. However, Ankalaev's aggressive approach and control made it difficult for Pereira to find his rhythm.
Went into the clinch and tried to, sweep him and do a double leg or pull guard. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He never used any of the other elements into fighting, but he never has because he's never had to in all his other fights. And all the other guys he's fought has never tried to threaten a takedown as much as Ankalaev.
Former UFC champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson also weighed in, stating that Ankalaev pressured Pereira more than any fighter he had faced before. Johnson noted that, while Pereira successfully defended all takedowns, he never attempted any himself, despite holding a black belt.
Anticlimactic because we thought it was going to be a big knockout. You got Poatan, come out there doing that shit. And I mean, Ankalaev just did a very good job of getting extremely close to Alex Pereira, not overexposing himself and really pushing against the cage. This one thing I say too.
Mighty Mouse acknowledged that the fight's outcome was unexpected for many fans, as most believed Pereira would successfully defend his title. However, he praised Ankalaev for putting on an incredible performance.
happens now? Listen, Alex Pereira, if he'd have got the job done tonight in exciting fashion, he would have called out John Jones. And if I was Tom Aspinall, you'd be like, hold on a minute, are they actually going to make this fight? Because if he got a viral knockout, there was a real potential for that fight. We already know that John Jones wants it. We already know that Jones seems to be waiting for taking the Aspinall fight. And if that opportunity presented itself, he would have taken it. However, it hasn't. All that talk has just disappeared off the table.
Listen, John Jones definitely wants to fight. Just when and where is what we're working on now. I'm very confident
Summer on first
that fight happens. Yeah.
Summer.
On the other hand, Brendan Schaub disagreed with the judge's decision. He strongly believed that Pereira won the fight and called it a garbage decision. Meanwhile, Matt Brown had a different opinion, scoring the fight 4-1 in favor of Ankalaev. Brown credited Ankalaev's discipline and strong fundamentals for his championship victory. Former UFC champion Henry Cejudo was also impressed with Ankalaev's performance and expressed excitement for a potential rematch between the two. Khabib Nurmagomedov congratulated Ankalaev, calling his performance historic.
Now for Alex Pereira, listen, first and foremost, he defended about 3 times. That was his 4th defense in a ridiculous amount of time. The man deserves a break, but he said, no, I'm going to take a few days off and get straight back in the gym. And you got to respect that about Alex Pereira, and you got to think he's going to get an immediate rematch next. The question is, what will he do different next time? Because he seemed a little annoyed at himself. There was a lot of talk that he was flying all over the world and maybe not focused. I don't buy into any of that. He seemed prepared. He went 5 rounds. The takedown defense was on point. Just Magomed Ankalaev.
Alex Pereira is already looking forward to a rematch, determined to reclaim his title as soon as possible. He has no plans to take a break and is ready to put in hard work at the gym. Michael Bisping commended Pereira's dedication, but reiterated that Ankalaev was on another level that night.
Much more than just takedowns. Wrestling is the clinch. Wrestling is holding someone against the octagon side. Wrestling is forcing a man to be in a position that he doesn't want to be. That's not an easy thing to do. When Alex Pereira wants to get off the octagon side, he's big and strong enough to get off the octagon side, unless he's fighting against Magomed.
Daniel Cormier also believes a rematch should happen, arguing that there aren't many other great matchups for Ankalaev in the division. Given Pereira's contributions to the light heavyweight division, Cormier feels he deserves another.
I think Ankalaev would probably respect the wrestling of Pereira more going into a rematch, so he may change his approach a little bit. But ultimately, he fought a wonderful fight and showed that he was not wrong in saying I could stand with him, because he did have to stand for 25 minutes against the most dangerous striker in the UFC, possibly UFC history, and he came out as the champ.
Pereira demonstrated solid wrestling in the fight, and Cormier believes that this will push Ankalaev to further improve for a potential rematch, knowing that Pereira can now challenge him in grappling.
Is the new champion. So what do we want to see from both these guys? Now, I actually think it's a breath of fresh air for Magomed Ankalaev to be the new champion, because now you have fresh matchups. You have Yuri Prochazka, you have Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. That fight's about to happen. You have Rakic. Even though those two fought before, they can run it back again. But I feel you get a brand new fresh division in the light heavyweight division with Magomed Ankalaev.
However, Demetrius Johnson suggested that Ankalaev should defend his title against other top contenders in the light heavyweight division before considering a rematch.
Him go up to heavyweight. Reason why is because I feel it's a better move for him. He's getting older. He doesn't have to worry about that heavy weight cut. Yes, he's gonna be fighting bigger athletes, but John Jones didn't have to get all big and thick like he did and to beat Sorogan. I feel like John Jones at a shredded John Jones at 215, 225 could have blew the fucking bricks off Sorogan. So I like to see him go to heavyweight. You also have John Jones. We don't know if he's going to come back and fight or not. You have Tom Aspinall. You have Jailton Almeida. Those two are trying to fight.
Regarding Pereira's future, Mighty Mouse believes Poatan should move up to the heavyweight division. He feels Pereira is nearing the final stages of his career and should aim for his 3rd UFC title by challenging John Jones. Johnson noted that there are many exciting matchups for Pereira, and that's all for today's video. What do you think about the fight result? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for instant updates on our latest videos.